Dak Owens, what's up, man? I thought the mic was muted. I didn't know you could hear me. Lewis, he said, Okoye, this is true. Yeah, it's a fact. I know it's true. How you been? Angie, what's good? You a rebel, huh? Y'all chicks need to stop being rebels, man. Getting y'all soft girl season, man. So somebody can take care of you, man. Nobody want no rebelliousness. Stop that. Who that? Loves Beauty 41. Hello there, Okoye. Okoye and chat. What up, though? The real IDA Lee. We in the building. What's good? Dolores Ennis, what's up? I got y'all in here. Troy Dudley, what's good? She said, hey, Angie. What's up, Angie? You famous? Yeah, man. I'll let a few of y'all join up before I start running my mouth. Y'all know how I generally do things, you know what I'm saying? But let me give you a second. Y'all know what the conversation is about. We've been talking on Twitter, for the last 2 weeks probably. I didn't know Boss started that conversation. Like I told you, I don't be watching everybody, so I didn't know Boss had started the Maxx Crosby wave. I thought they were just looking at what the front office was looking at. So when you guys were coming to me talking about Maxx Crosby, I wasn't directing it at what Boss was saying. I didn't know what he said. I just knew at the end of the day, and this ain't me copping no please, Boss, like my brother, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, I just knew we didn't need one based off of history. But now it's just more of an interesting conversation. So we probably jump on and do a show or something to address it. He actually talked about that earlier. But if you're free, we gonna holler at it. When will you and Boss Cowboys do a show together? Yeah, that's what you just said, huh? I know I got it. I know you said rebellious. Yeah, you rebellious, but stop being rebellious. No, we'll do a show. We could do one today. If Boss free later today, we could do it. If not, we'll do it tomorrow whenever you want. I told you I'm serious. I'm gonna be very consistent with the videos from here on out. So, I mean, y'all gonna see me. Let's see what we doing. Y'all got 40 in here, so I guess it's enough to start. Let's do it. I gave y'all a minute. Okoye, stop rebelling to society, not a man I'm with. Yeah, I feel you. Go ahead, be a rebel. You ain't gonna get out. The way I say it is like, man, the revolution and all that, man, you ain't gonna make it out alive anyway. You better enjoy yourself, get your money, and do what you gotta do, man. Because the way the world going right now, I don't even talk about it no more. Like Trump, everything. Like it don't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, whatever you is. Just live right, get your money, protect your family, do what you gotta do. Because politics and government ain't it, no matter which way you slide. You know what I mean? But I feel you. Rebel. Let's see. JC Cowboy Network, what's good? Cowboy Politics, what's good? He said Pratt Enrique or old ass but experienced Wagner. We need one of them for that. Yeah, we do need a middle linebacker, but I don't think it'll be any either one of them either. I'm interested in seeing what they do. Even if you draft a guy like Sonny Styles, you still need a veteran in that room that's a middle linebacker. So I don't know what the move is going to be with that, but I'm interested in seeing. I know that they're not slow. Like the Cowboys very rarely go thin at any position. So if they, I'm getting hair in my mouth from the mic. Pause. I ain't even want to finish the sentence. I ain't want to finish the sentence, man. Yeah, I know y'all was gonna jump on me, but yeah. What I'm saying. Oh, they never go thin at any position. So I think they're going. Yeah, Bobby Okereke, whatever his name is from New York, they'll probably pick him up, or they're gonna pick somebody up though. But I don't see them going this thin at linebacker for very very, very long. They're gonna definitely sign one before or around the draft for sure, and maybe a pass rusher. You might be right, we them boys. Let's see what you said. Stop it. Stop it, Angie. Tarek 39, he said, what's good, dog? Hit the like before you type. We need Jacob from Texas Tech. I like him. Rodriguez ain't no joke. He's the best in the draft. That dude is, he a playmaker for sure. How do you feel about trading the third round to Miami for Jordan Brooks? I think my man Chris from Cowboys Beat, he hit me up and said that. I don't hate it. If he's available on the block, why not? You know what I mean? But I haven't watched his film to be like, yeah, I don't really, you know what I mean? I don't really know. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Let me see where we at with the likes on this video, and then we're gonna get started. All right, let's go. Let me see what's up. Cause y'all be trying to do me dirty. It'd be like 60 people in. I got 21. Like I knew y'all was gonna do that to me, man. Y'all be lazy when y'all walk in the door, man. Listen, take your shoes off when you come in my house, man. Take your shoes off. Hit the like button, man. That's all you gotta do. It's real simple, man. The cost of entry is likes, and then after that, if you like me, send me some super chats or something later on. But the cost of admission, at least, is just a like. It's the easiest thing you could do. You know what I mean? Keep me rolling with those. Y'all did a good job yesterday, though, and we gonna keep it rolling. But yeah, let me see. Let me refresh because I don't know. Y'all be kind of late with it. I'm at 34 now. Come on, get the likes up. Let's go. Get me to at least 40, 50 likes, then I'm gonna start talking. And I got some film chopped up for y'all, so don't waste my time. You know what I mean? I sat here and chopped up some Rashan Gary film just for this conversation. So, you know what I mean? Make it worth my while. Let's go. Yes, I'm a hoe. I'm a hoe for likes. Let's go. I'm still at 42. Still at 42. It's 40 of y'all that's stubborn. You know what I mean? What y'all driving trucks or something? Like, you know what I mean? Hit the like button. Let's go. All right. All right, I'm at 45 at 78 live viewers right now. I'm a start. I said 50, but you know. Oh, we have 50 now. There we go. Y'all was listening. Thanks for looking out, man. JC said, keep up the good work, man. Appreciate the super chats, man. I'm gonna go buy me a coffee or something, man. You already know coffee on you, Brody. You know what I mean? All right. What up, Ball Hawk 99? She said, not hairball. Yeah, it was hair, all crazy. Yeah, all crazy. She said, Okoye, you need more security at the front door. Where your mods? I don't even know. Where's Sadiq at? I can't change mods from here. I got to change it from YouTube. But let me see. Maybe I can. They might have changed that in here. Small, medium, large, no. Filters, no. No, you can't change it from the app I'm using. I'm using StreamYard. And StreamYard, I don't think you can change your mods from within StreamYard. You got to go on the YouTube live to do it. And I don't never go live from YouTube. But I do need more, y'all, to get the likes up. Donovan Wilson is a Dan Quinn guy. How you think he'll do in Christian Parker's scheme? He'll do nothing because he won't be here. Donovan Wilson won't play in Christian Parker's scheme. I don't know. I think they let him go already. If they didn't, they will. He gonna be gone. I don't see Donovan Wilson playing here at all. I don't think Christian Parker want him because he tightened the hips. He's a dumb player, but he is exciting. He hit hard and he'll smack you, but he can't get in and out of his breaks, and he's not a smart guy. You know what I mean? He's easily fooled by the same shit over and over and over again. So yeah, I don't see him playing here at all, to answer your question. Yo, was just watching your other video, turned on the live. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go. All right. I told you I'm gonna be busy, so y'all gonna be pleasantly surprised. Oh, look at this, all the dreads and all that. JC Cowboy Networks waiting on those breakdowns of the players we acquired in free agency. Oh, she put you on blast, JC. You better do something ASAP. Amazement. I don't know what that is. How you say that? Amazement. Amazement. I'm dumb as hell. Amazement. I see Mozzie in there. Nent. I'm all dyslexic. She said, you and Nicole are some of the best in the business. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Another super chat. T Marquis, what's good? 37. He said, glad you're going to be on more consistent. You say what I be thinking. Salute. Yeah, man. For sure. Yep, I'm working on them. Love, beauty. You already know. Yeah, she's not playing with you, Brody. You better get it. Amazing entertainment. Oh, all right, I got you. Got you. Well, I appreciate the super chat either way, brother. You gave me a super chat and I murdered your name. That was a bad promo, wasn't it? Like, that's the worst commercial I ever paid for. I mean, but all right, I'm gonna get started now. Listen, this isn't, I think people get too used to, and the reason I brought up politics from the rip is people get used to the polarization that politics bring, right? Are you a so you're a vaxxer or anti-vaxxer? You a Democrat, you a Republican, you a masker, anti-masker, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, you light skin, dark skin, you white, black, it's always some forced duality or polarization going on, especially when it comes to the Cowboy community for some reason. I don't. Maybe it's because all y'all in Texas, and I don't know. Maybe y'all super political down there. I don't get it. But everything ain't got to be a fight. You know what I mean? When you look at pass rush, all I'm trying to do is bring levity to people who are too anxious about getting a pass rusher. Meaning, if we don't get the one you want, now we got to burn everything down. No, I don't agree with that. That's what I don't agree with. But don't turn that into a conversation of me saying I don't want a pass rusher, because I want a pass rusher. Me too. If I could have got we could have got Maxx Crosby, I would have been just as happy as everybody else, and I would have been breaking him down too, trying to see how he would fit within this scheme, just like I do everybody else, right? So anybody that joins the blue and silver, I break them down, I welcome them into the fold. Y'all already know I get in trouble for doing it. I did it with Kenneth Murray, did it with Mozzie. When I do it, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm not against the guys that we bring in. I just say, how can this guy get better? Because I'm a coach. I don't think like a fan all the time. I think like a coach. So if I deal with people who aren't playing or fighting up to par all the time. I was just at the gym sparring this morning, and then after I finished sparring, I took the guys who were sparring me out the ring, and I'm like, I'm 43. I'm not supposed to be whooping your ass. You're a pro, bro. So let me show you some stuff. So we break stuff down, right? That's the way I am. I don't say, oh, man, you a pro. You ain't worth shit. You know what I'm saying? No, it's like, oh, man, I see you want to be better. Let's see what you can do within the frameworks of your phenotype and, your temperament to see what we can do, and your athleticism. Let's see what we can do to make your fight game work, right? It's the same thing with football. When we get a guy, what can he do to make us better? If we don't have pass rushers, I think, how can we win with what we have? That's how I'm thinking, right? If Christian Parker has a plan, I don't know it. I'm not Christian Parker, but I do like him, and I'm willing to trust him until I can't. Same way I was with Eberflus. I ain't know him, but I liked him okay from what he did before and what he did with Darius Leonard and those guys. So I said, hey, I trust him until I can't, and I can't trust him no more, right? So everybody starts off that way with me, right? Just because of the way I think. So when I look at this team and the way we put together, I'm just digging into how we can win with what we have, right? Now, if someone said you added Maxx Crosby or Grenard or whoever to this room, okay, that's improvement, right? But if we didn't, what could we do with what we have today? That's how I think, right? So that's really what my argument is. And beyond that, the real thing that we really got to hone in on is when you look at the stats for the last 3 Super Bowls, the stats for not the Super Bowls themselves, but the teams leading up to the Super Bowl, the interior linemen were the leading pass rushers on almost all of them. Somebody said the last pass rusher to win a MVP or something like that, or change a Super Bowl game was Aaron Donald in like 2015, right? He's an interior lineman too, though. You know what I'm saying? Chris Jones had 10 sacks in 2023. Him and Karlaftis, those guys are down linemen. You know what I'm saying? When you look at last year, DeMarcus Lawrence was a beast all last year. Can't nobody say that he wasn't balling all year, but he only had 6 sacks. Yeah, 6 sacks. You know what I'm saying? When you look at Byron Murphy, he was killing them in the Super Bowl. Killed them. Yeah, 7 sacks for the season, though. You know what I'm saying? Had a bunch of them in the Super Bowl, though. When you look at Leonard Williams was like Big Cat was killing, right? But Big Cat was killing with 7 sacks. Yeah, 7 sacks. See what I'm saying? So where are these 22, 15, 13? Not one of the last 3 Super Bowls had a guy over 10 sacks. Just 10. That's it. Chris Jones was the highest. Every other Super Bowl, 7. In the Eagles year, they had Sweat had 8. And the guy that they was calling the best defensive tackle in the game at the time, Jalen Carter, they was calling him the best in the game during that year. He had 4.5 sacks. But does that mean you're not having an effect? You can't possibly mean you're not having an effect on the game if they're still calling you the best and you only have 4.5 sacks, right? So what does that tell you about sacks? And I say this all the time. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. What is the difference between a sack and a tackle for loss? If I sack a quarterback, remember that sack matter of fact, perfect example. Remember the sack that they gave Micah Parsons against us when Dak Prescott was running? It wasn't even a sack because he actually crossed the line of scrimmage, but they gave him a sack for stopping Dak for what they say was no gain, right? Okay, he stopped at the line of scrimmage. It's a sack. If you stop a running back for no gain, you don't even get a tackle for loss for that. But it's the same thing. Ball stopped at the line of scrimmage. Where's the ball if you sack a guy 2 yards behind the ball? 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Where's the ball if you tackle a running back 2 yards behind the ball the next play? 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So what the hell is the difference between sacks and tackles for loss? One is just harder to come by, and you get no credit for them. It's like dirty work shit, right? So when I say I don't mind the guy who constantly gets us tackles in the backfield, no matter how he does it, whether he's tackling the quarterback and he has a gift for that, or he has a gift for being disruptive and tackling running backs. Either way, I'm all for disruption on their side of the ball. And that's what you do need, regardless of whether they're getting sacks or tackles for loss. You need people who play on the opposite side of the trenches. And that's what we have now. Having 5 guys who play like what's his name? Pernell McPhee used to be pretty good at stopping the run, but he was like one guy on the Raiders team. I mean, on the Ravens team, and on he played for Chicago too. He'd be like one guy. Like when we had DeMarcus Lawrence, it's just one guy that could stop the run. But when DeMarcus Lawrence went to a team full of run stoppers with Murphy, with Reed, and Williams, and himself, all those guys could stop the run. Something crazy. You got 4 guys that can stop the run, and then you got your pass rushing guy on the other side that you're trying to like keep free. Oh man, that's hard to deal with, man. You got multiple guys who are aces versus the run, and now we got 5 guys up front. And if you want to add Sam Williams and Leofile in that rotation behind Gary and Ezeraku, you know what I mean? You got 7 guys up front who can flat out stop the run. That's what they all can do. Now, can they get you hustle pressures and hustle sacks? Of course. But when you look at Gary's stats and say, "Oh man, he ain't get me a sack for the second after week 7." Well, later in the season, obviously he went on a little drought. But later in the season, Micah Parsons gets hurt, and he getting all the slide protections that Micah Parsons was getting, all the doubles and everything else, and those exotic packages that they had for Micah Parsons. They now switched their scheme to something more vanilla because he's not there, right? So what do you think is going to happen to Gary after that? Like he got all of the attention after that. So yeah, he's not a premier pass rusher, but that was the reason he lulled. But did he stop having an impact on games throughout that stretch just because he didn't get a sack throughout that stretch? Did he stop having an impact? And that's the other thing that this conversation leads me to. I'll get to some of your conversation up here in a minute, but when I start reading y'all stuff, man, I go in too deep. So it takes me away from, what my points are. So I'll get to y'all in a second. But when you look at the way they are laid out and the way he played last year, you got to ask yourself, is he having an impact? And the only way to determine that is not by looking at Pro Football Reference and looking at stats. That's not it. Watch the games. Count the snaps. So if you say he got 33 snaps, and then I counted, all right, one pass rush where the quarterback threw an errant pass, one where he scrambled out of the pocket, another one he scrambles out of the pocket, another one he hits the quarterback on top of the head, he throws an incomplete pass, another one he throws it quick to the flat instead of throwing it deep because he got touched, another one he stops the run, another one he stops the run, and another. Get what I'm saying? So it'll be like 10 plays out of 33 snaps, 40 snaps. He's having a hell of an impact, meaning no, he's not getting sacks, but what impact do you see on the game with the snaps that he has? That's what you got to do when you watch a film. Don't look for stats and highlights. So even when I watch the stats, I don't go just to his tackles. If I'm looking at a corner, I don't go just to his interceptions because he might have been a guy that got picked on all day and got you some interceptions. And then he's great. Like they tried to do that with Kobe Durant. Kobe Durant, I said he's a good cagey corner, not a shutdown corner, but a cagey corner that puts me in the mind of like Peanut Tillman and those guys. You can beat Peanut Tillman with the ball. You could throw the ball against him. But if you keep doing it, he's going to make a play on you because he's a ball hawk and he's a smart player. Charles Woodson, you can complete a pass on the older Charles Woodson from Green Bay. You can beat him with the ball, but you keep playing with him. He's going to force a fumble. He's going to get an interception. He's going to do something crazy to you. So that's the mindset I have when I look at Durant. But when I watch his film, I've seen him getting beat for 50-yard plays, 30-yard plays. But neither is the truth about the guy, right? Why did he get beat on those 50s? He might have been expected inside help, might have communicated a little different, whatever it may be. You can see him get beat, but he's not the bum that got beat, nor is he the savant that got the interception. He's somewhere in the middle of that. But the only way to judge it is to watch the entire games to see how that player's plays impacted the entirety of the game and how some of the plays he might have missed would have impacted the game even more, because some of those things you don't look at. Like in the playoffs with Rashan Gary, you'll see in the film that I'm about to put up in a second. He had a play where he slapped Caleb Williams in the back of the head. When he slapped him in the back of the head, even on it, you can't hit him in the head. But when he slapped him in the back of the head, he kind of grazed the ball, and the ball went right into one of his defender's hands, just like this. The guy catches the ball, they'd move on to the next round of the playoffs just from Gary's play. But a split second and a guy with no hands made it so that, he could have either got the strip or he could have got it. They could have got an interception, and then they win the game on that. But they didn't win the game. Why? Because that didn't happen. But you can watch the film and see that, you're inches away from that. Honestly, he made the play that would have changed the game. This guy just didn't catch the damn ball. You got to catch the ball, but that's why they're on defense in the first place, right? So when you approach it from those angles and you know the context, you're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like when you say Dez Bryant, didn't catch, he dropped the ball. You could say, all right, on the paper, he dropped the ball against Green Bay in the playoffs in 2013, 2014, whatever that was. Oh, he dropped the ball because officially he didn't catch it, right? They didn't rule it a catch. But when you watch the game, you can put it in proper context and say, oh, no, Dez Bryant ain't drop shit. He did what he was supposed to do to win the game. It just didn't go his way. You know what I'm saying? So context matters for sure. And that's what I'm driving home. You say that Maxx Crosby is the best of both worlds. But what I'm saying is, bro, like, don't marry it. That's all. Why we married it? Who the fuck is Max? I like Maxx Crosby, but Maxx Crosby been in the league for years. Okay, he been on the Raiders for years. He hasn't been on this team. He's not a Cowboy. So when I look at him, I say, I would love to have him. But if I don't get him, I treat him just like I treated him yesterday. He wasn't mine yesterday. If it was a chick, you ain't mine yesterday, you ain't mine tomorrow. It's cool. What I'm mad about it for? So same thing. Maxx Crosby ain't a Cowboy today, and he wasn't one yesterday. If he's one tomorrow, welcome. But if he ain't, I don't give a damn. It's the same to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I look at it. Not, I don't want him. I didn't say don't go get Maxx Crosby. It's a waste of time. But if I save time, I'm sitting here waiting to make a big splash with just Maxx Crosby, and I think that's going to save my team, then I'm mistaken. You know what I'm saying? I'm mistaken. You know what I mean? That's a guy that throws big punches waiting for a knockout or a home run rather than just working. Just work. And we working right now. You know what I mean? He said, Okoye, I would love him with Quinnen. That front would be the best in the NFL. You not wrong. You're not wrong. I would. Maxx Crosby would make any team better. But I do think it's one or two things, right? Because Dr. Cooper, who went to examine Maxx Crosby for the Ravens, is the Cowboys' doctor. So it's only two reasons that he could have turned this down. And I don't think it's the second one. It's either he really was concerned with what he saw in that knee, and he told the Ravens that, honestly, and the Ravens said, fuck it. Or he wasn't concerned with the knee because he's a knee specialist, but he told the Ravens that anyway because he's Jerry's guy. And then Jerry's going to get him at a discount. He's going to make Max sweat it out and go get him at a discount maybe. Who knows, right? So that's the way I'm looking at it. First, because Jerry's that guy, he will put smut on your name. And then after he get the smut on your name, he either going to cut you because that's what he tried to do to Dez. So he either cut you or he assign you. Now you ain't, now you're not fighting him because how you going to fight? You know what I mean? You got smut on your name. So Maxx Crosby now has a blemish on him where everybody looking at that knee and saying, your knee is messed up, bruh. All right. So now you either play ball with the contract that you would ask for if you came here or, stay where you at. That's really where you at with it. You know what I'm saying? So I think the Ravens might have been the Raiders might have been trying to get rid of a problem because most teams don't say anything about the players' undisclosed issues as long as they're able to play. I think Pac-Man Jones said one time, he said, I love Jerry Jones. I'll never say nothing bad about him. And he said, here's why. He said, on a play against Pittsburgh, James Harrison broke his neck. He hit him on a punt return, and, he went to go dive for the punt and went head-to-head with James Harrison, 92, right? That's his name, right? James Harrison, something like that. But Debo hit him, head up, boom, broke his neck. He came back and finished the game, but he had a broken neck. But they listed it as a shoulder sprain, right? When the Cowboys told him, say, hey, we're going to have to let you go, later on, I think in the offseason, we got to let you go because of the injury or whatever. He said, just don't tell nobody, what's wrong with me or whatever. Just don't tell nobody I broke my neck. That's all he asked. And Jerry said, I won't. He ain't telling nobody nothing. So I think he took a year off and then came back, played 4 more years for Cincinnati after that. He's like, I banged with Jerry because he could have aired me out and did that to me. So a lot of teams, I say that to say the Raiders might know that there's something really wrong with Maxx Crosby, but they're not going to shit on him because he's their guy. You know what I'm saying? So it took someone kicking the tires to see if he was worth it or not. But now that it's not, it's like, all right, if I think you're a bad John, you turn out to be, a hoe or whatever you is, all right, you look good. I wanted it. I wanted to do it, but now we move on. So, get out the gutter and get out the dumps about the situation. And let's move on and see what we can do with what we have or what other moves we can make, whether it be in the draft or free agency, because most likely it ain't gonna be Maxx Crosby. That's just the way I look at it. Feel what I'm saying? I mean, hope that makes some sense. All right, let me see. All right, if y'all speaking, I see a lot of y'all saying what's up. What's up to all of y'all evenly? Like I said, I don't y'all going pretty. It's 200 of y'all in here, and y'all going pretty heavy with the comments, which is good. I love that. Make sure you guys keep the likes up, keep the super chats up, do all that. I'm gonna check where the likes at real quick, and then we're gonna get into the film because I know I'll answer questions. I'll go all the way back up for y'all, and I'll answer a lot of your questions later. Super chats get you answered earlier, but I'll answer your questions later, and I'll also show you the film. I just don't want to get distracted so that I lose track of what I'm trying to talk about because you guys ask a lot of great questions. So it gets me off topic sometimes. All right. We had 117 likes. Make sure you guys who just came in hit the like button, and I'm about to tee up this film for y'all. He said, let me get that mod, Okoye. You kind of Rico reckless, bro. I like you, though. Let me see if I can change you to a moderator. Put in time out, delete. See, they don't give, I'm going to say that to StreamYard. They don't give me the option to make you a mod in here, bro. I would. I don't mind. All right. All right, let's go. Gotcha. Add the stage. Let me get up out of here. Now, what I want y'all to pay attention to, right, if you in here, not sacks, but impact. Every play that I put in here, you have some sort of impact. He has some sort of impact on that play, whether it be forcing the ball out like he did here, or getting a stopping the run or forcing an interception or forcing an errant throw. So these are the games after week 7. I didn't take any of the games where he got sacks. So I took none of the highlights. None of the highlights. These are all low lights. This is a low light special. You know what I'm saying? This is Mr. Almost, but you can still see, and this is all from same games. So I took every impact play that he made with the snaps that he had in not every game, but the games that I looked at. I think I took 4 games and the playoff game to examine. But it was against top opposition like the Eagles line and so on, just to see what he was able to do because he's going to play against them this year. And he plays pretty well. I mean, especially when you're looking at him versus the run, just look, he's going to see these all day now that he's not in a 4-man front. He's in a 5-man front. He's going to be dealing with tight ends and running backs all day. And you see how well he just dismantled them. And I can tell you this, if Rashan Gary finished better, he would have been he would have had over 10 sacks if he finished better. I counted multiple. He missed on like 5 or 6 sacks just because he's either too high or he's right, like you just saw right there. He's just right out of arm's reach of the quarterback and doesn't finish. Even with the running backs, you'll see he's going to give up a touchdown. He makes a great play, but gives up a touchdown because he doesn't finish. And I counted those plays too because I look at him like if he just can shore up his finishability, if he just finished it like right there, he got to the ball but didn't finish. You know what I'm saying? Here, you're going to see him. He's going to shed, get into the gap quick as hell, but he's not going to finish here. See right here? Boom. You got to finish better. Now, if he finished better, he would have had probably 5 or 6 more tackles for loss, maybe even more in the games that I'm looking at, not in the season. He would have had at least 5 or 6 more sacks in just the 4 games that I watched. You know what I'm saying? That would have put him at like, 10 to 13. And if was a fifth, we all be drunk, right? So I'm not saying that he's great because of that. I'm just saying when you look right here, his counter was late on this. If he would have countered a little sooner, and he uses this long arm all the time, but if he would have countered sooner and he didn't get held on that play, he probably got a sack there too. So it's not like he lacks pass rush ability. He has the pass rush ability. It's just he's not finishing, and he does. I think the 2 things he needs to work on is finishing and his counters and an assortment of moves. He uses the steering wheel move or that long arm move all day, Right here, he finishes on this one, shoestring tackle. But he uses this long arm, which is good because it works for him. Like he'll drive you back into the quarterback, but he takes too many steps. I think he should counter or have a second move right off of that, and he doesn't. And the other thing he does is what you saw here. He gets his pad level a little high when he gets tired, and those tackles get under him and kind of drive him back. But when he stays low, like you can see here, when he stays low, he's stout at the point of attack. But again, you'll see, same problem, finishing. It's not that he's not where he's supposed to be. It's not that he's not dominant. He's dominating the guys that's in front of him. He's just not finishing consistently. And that is something that you can work on. Tackling is something that can be worked on. I think that he tackles well, but, he's just not always bringing his feet with him to the ball. And a lot of a lot of athletes have that problem, not just players. I deal with that with some of my fighters. I just was talking about that with the guy Dylan I was sparring today. I said, hey, you got way more range than you show because, you jab right up on me. But if you just used your range, you can jab from all the way back here. But he had to show him, right? He's the same way. He can finish. You just bring your feet and you'll finish. Boom. But when it comes to his run stopping capabilities, you know what I'm saying? What's good, Cavachier? We in here? That's my man. What's up? You gotta call me, man. You gotta call me. You gotta talk, man. Shout out to Vach, man. Make sure you guys follow his channel. Make sure you follow Crown Global too. You know what I'm saying? They doing big things over there. And I'm hearing a lot of good shit from my little spies in there, man. So yeah, Vach, you over there killing it, brother. I gotta talk to you. Yeah, that's my man. That's like baby bro right there. Right. So when you look at what he's doing, though, versus the run or even pass, I'm looking at the impact that he had on each game that he played in. Is this an impact? Is it a sack? No. Is it a stat even? Maybe you give him a pressure, maybe you don't. Who knows? But did he have an impact? Yeah, his play right there resulted in an incomplete pass. So you have to judge not just stats, not just plays made, but impact on the game in its entirety. And one thing you could say for certain, even if you don't like his ability to pass rush, main man, you can't run at him at all. Like, don't run over there. He's a lot like DeMarcus Lawrence in that sense, or Pernell McPhee, those types of guys where he's going to get you hustle sacks. He ain't the greatest pass rusher. He'll get you 5 off the hustle, and he'll probably get you 3 or 4 off of I just beat my man type shit. You know what I'm saying? And then if you can stun him a little bit more or you put another pass rusher next to him, he'll be a 10-sack guy if you do that, right? But when it comes to the run, his ability to get tackles in the backfield, his ability to stop the ball clean when it comes to the run is uncanny. I gave him a B, and that's only because of his tackling. If it wasn't for his poor tackling at times, or poor angles to the ball, he would easily be an A player versus the run. I think his ability and his technique is A. It's just his tackling brings his grade down just a little bit for me. But pass rush, I mean, obviously he's in the middle of the pack. He's a C guy with that. But he's 6'5", 270 at that. He's a big man. You know what I mean? So I think that Christian Parker wanted a team that was similar to what we saw in Seattle last year. I think it's a copycat league, and you had Byron Murphy, who's a bona fide run stopper. You had Leonard Williams, who's a bona fide pass rusher and run stopper. You know what I'm saying? You had DeMarcus Lawrence, same thing. And then also Reed. All 4 of those guys can flat out stop the run. And now we have 5 guys in our front, from Ezeraku all the way over to Gary, all across that line that can stop the run. And then, as I said before, if you look at their backups in Leofile and Sam Williams, those guys can stop the run too. I think Williams will be a lot better this season with a fresh knee and a better coaching scheme, because I don't think anybody looked good last season. Now, again, let's judge impact. Is he having an impact? Is that a sack? No. But did he have an impact? Hell yeah. He forced the interception right there. So I don't think Rashan Gary was saying, hey, I'm sucking because I don't got no sacks down the stretch, because he was doing other things that really make you say, okay, he having an impact on a positive impact on the game. That's a pressure there and a QB knockdown. But, he's been split seconds away from getting the quarterback down all year last year. And these are all games from his drought. I didn't take any from his stats where he actually got stats, right? But we're just looking at what the results of those plays are. Forced the ball out quick there. That was a incomplete pass. And this is him in the playoffs. And to be quite honest, this ain't a shot at Micah, even though it is, but it ain't. It's just the truth. He had more impact in this wild card game than Micah had in the last wild card game we had him. You know what I'm saying? Far more impact. But We still don't count it because he didn't get any sacks, right? And they didn't win the game. But here, I think this play right is this the one? Yep, this play right here. If he slaps him in the head and hits his arm, if his man right here catches this ball, if that ball's caught, that play right there wins you the game. He won the game off that play. And like I said, it's not a what if league, but when you watch the film, the context comes into play. So I can look at him and say, can I do something with the guy on the film that I'm watching right now? Can you do something with this? I can. I know I can. You know what I'm saying? Even if if it was my first year as a defensive coordinator, I could do something with that. Force an incomplete pass there too. But that's what you should be judging, not if he's Maxx Crosby. You know what I'm saying? He's not Maxx Crosby. He ain't gonna be. He's Rashan Gary. But when you put him around the guys that we have in the scheme that we have, what can he do for you? And if you take an approach where you look at it from a perspective where the Cowboys are trying to not go into the draft thirsty at any position, I think when you look at outside linebacker, they're currently not thirsty. You can say they're thirsty for a pass rusher, maybe, but they can draft one that will not only be a guy that's not going to be leaned on to be a world beater from day one, but he'll be surrounded by veterans on that front five, except for Ezraku. But you're in a room with Quinnen Williams, Ogbo, Kenny Clark, and Gary. You ain't gonna do nothing but learn how to prepare. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna learn how to prepare ASAP. So we get that out of here. Boom. But yeah, you ain't gonna do nothing but learn how to prepare if you got those guys in front of you. So, if you go out at 20 and get Mesidor, if you went and got Bailey, you know what I'm saying, Baines, any of those guys, it doesn't matter who you like. I don't really, when it comes to rookie pass rushers, they all sound good until they get to the league and you don't know what you got. They either tear something up, tear a knee up, go on the wrong team, don't do shit, or they do everything. You know what I mean? You never know. So, but when I look at the guys available, it doesn't matter who's available. Really don't. If you want a pass rusher, you could take 120, and then those guys will school them up. If there's a pass rusher available that could play outside linebacker to Christian Parker's standard, and he's available, then the Cowboys will likely go get him prior to the draft. But I don't think they're thinking the way we are. Christian Parker knows something we don't, because if they're thirsty at pass rush, like we say, then obviously with the moves that they've been making, it seems like he's getting his way. He can kind of ask for what he wants. We've changed the phenotypes of the secondary. We went from, and he actually mentioned this, but I recognized it prior to his mention, but he mentioned it in the combine. He said, hey, your 40 times is cool, but can you start and stop on a dime as far as secondary players is concerned, or any player for that matter? And that's important. And you notice he stopped getting those tall, lanky, tight in the hips corners, and he went after 3 defensive backs that are 5'11", 6-footish, but twitchy guys, all quick in and out of their cuts, right? And athletic. So if Jerry's allowing you to do that, allowing you to change things the way he is, do you think that if Christian Parker thought that we needed an elite pass rusher right now, we wouldn't go out and try to get one? I think we would. So there's something missing for a reason. Now, they might be cooking and working on something, which I think they are, at middle linebacker and at outside linebacker. But if not, you can go out and get you some. Right now, we're not thirsty at those positions, so we can go out and get a freak in the draft. Your best players available at any given spot. And I like where we're sitting at right now. Now, does that mean I'm 100% right and this won't come back to bite us in the ass in the season? It could. I'll start complaining too, like, man, we need some pass rush. But I don't think so at this point, man. I trust what I see in Christian Parker at this juncture. I like the changes that we've already made, and I think that the Cowboys, minus a middle linebacker, have a team good enough to start and compete on defense right now today. And the draft allows you to add key pieces, key role players and rotational players, even those first-round picks, unless you got like Mansour Delane or Sonny Styles. Those guys will come in and start right away because of the position they play. So if you get a middle linebacker in the first round, he's probably starting because we don't have one. If you go out and get a corner like Mansour Delane, he's probably going to start because we don't have one to his caliber, right? But outside of that, any other position, if you go get safety, if you go get Caleb Downs is great, but he won't keep PJ Locke and Jalen Thompson and Hooker off the field completely. They'll just have a 4-man rotation at safety. You know what I'm saying? If you go out and get Baines is great, but he won't keep Sam Williams, Leofile. Well, he might keep Leofile off the field, but he won't keep Sam Williams, Ezraku, and Gary off the field there'll be a 4-man rotation with those guys. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that comes in only makes those rooms better. You know what I mean? So we don't necessarily need one guy to be the guy. I don't need Maxx Crosby to give me 13 sacks. I need 13 sacks from the left end position. You know what I'm saying? I don't need Rashan Gary to get me 13 and a half sacks like Michael Parsons. I need Rashan Gary and Sam Williams collectively to give me about 12 to 13 sacks, though. You know what I'm saying? And I think they can do that. I don't need Ezraku to give me 8 to 12 sacks, but I do need 8 to 12 sacks from the opposite side. You know what I mean? So I look at the position and what we're getting from the position, not necessarily the one player. When you have rotational players, that's the way it goes anyway. When you have two number one receivers, both of them usually ain't gonna hit 1,500 yards. When you got two good running backs, they're not gonna have 2,000-yard rushing seasons. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna have that because they're doing it by committee. And I think the same thing is true when you look at the rotation at outside linebacker. I don't think you're going to have the Alex Highsmiths and the TJ Watts that are in the game unless they're tired. They're in the game the whole game. You know what I'm saying? There will be a healthy rotation. And if there's a healthy rotation, then those guys aren't going to have 12, 13 sacks unless they just have some freaky, weird games. You know what I'm saying? So I feel y'all on the concern, but I'm not concerned when it comes to pass rush because when you look back, like I said, let's look at the Seattle team. You had Byron Murphy, 7 sacks. You had Leonard Williams, 7 sacks. Those two dudes led the team in sacks with 7. And then behind them was D-Law. Then after that was a bunch of other guys with, 3s and 4s. You know what I'm saying? Nobody had a high sack count. They had 29 and a half sacks from their starters, from their base. That's good. That's respectable. But they still won a Super Bowl, and they still was, like, dominant on defense all year. Even when you look at the Packers, everybody was talking about Rashan Gary. The Packers' defense was stifling. They was smothering everything last year. You know what I'm saying? They was losing. The games they was losing to be like 13-10 type shit. You know what I'm saying? They held you to 10 points. They held the Browns. They held the Browns next to none. And they did that a lot, though. Teams weren't scoring on them. So Rashan Gary was on the field the whole time. They not scoring. He out there, ain't he? He ain't got nothing to do with that. He just if he was weak or the weak link or a guy that couldn't be relied upon, he would have been a guy that got picked on in some way, shape, or form throughout that stretch. But he's not a guy that you could play with. He ain't a guy that you could pick on. And I think myself included, guys like Gary and guys like DeMarcus Lawrence have been undervalued. I've undervalued DeMarcus Lawrence in the past, and he made me pay for it last year. When I watched him, I said, whoa. You know what I mean? He showed me something last season. But that's just the way it goes, man. And I look at it like Gary is a guy that we can definitely do something with. So I'll jump into the chat, but hopefully, that quells some of the conversation. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to jump on with Boss whenever you're ready. We'll jump on later or we'll jump on tomorrow or something like that. And whoever, we'll get it. We'll get it. Get it on, man. We'll do it. I gotta go all the way up. And I don't got my glasses on, so stop. Don't talk y'all shit. I already know what y'all gonna do to me. Let me see. I'm gonna just make the font size as big as hell. Let me see if that worked. Font big. Yep. All right, boom. All right, cool. That should be cool. All right, let me see what questions y'all got. Hit that like button too while y'all at it. Throw some money at me too. I might dance. A whole bunch of people who are focused on Maxx and getting that dude. Let me just read it up here. Whole bunch of dudes who people. I mean, whole bunch of people who are focused on Maxx and getting that dude as the only way to win. They aren't thinking football. They're thinking video games. I mean, Maxx Crosby definitely moved the needle. I wouldn't say video game, but I would say you got commission breath. Like you married to the cause rather than married to the mission. The mission, I guess that's the same thing. The mission is to win Super Bowls, though, not to acquire the best pass rusher in the game. Nobody has said getting him is the only way to win. Not that I've seen people. Not that I have seen people. I just know the effect he brings to whatever line he a part of. Oh, that's a fact. Yeah, he gonna bring. I mean, that's not what we having a conversation about. Because I'm not here to tell you that Maxx Crosby is worthless or something or you're not worth it. He's worth it. He's worth it for sure. I wouldn't give up my first round picks to get him though. I don't think so, especially after hearing about the knee. Hell no. Hell no. No. So I wouldn't do that to get him. But I do like Maxx Crosby. Now, if he was a free agent and he was asking for a bag, all right, give him a little something. But trading him and giving up our first round leverage just to get him, no, I wouldn't do it. Maybe the 20. Maybe the 20. But yeah, but I wouldn't do my 12 at all. Or both. That would be crazy. Nah. They picked on seatbelt all last year. Who seatbelt? Who seatbelt? If you think Maxx Crosby is just a pass rusher, you shouldn't speak on him because he's far more elite run stopping. Oh no, I think Maxx Crosby could do it all. He's a well-rounded guy, but I do think he's not a scheme fit necessarily because he's not a guy that plays with his hand off the ground that often, and he doesn't drop back in coverage at all. And I think that's what Christian Parker is asking for. Because when you look at a guy like Maxx Crosby, you could say, okay, with his body type and the way he plays, not that Clowney's on that same level as far as productivity, but they same build, similar athleticism. And productivity last year for Clowney was pretty good. Why wouldn't you bring Clowney back, right? If you wanted a guy, but they said they didn't bring him back because he's a guy that plays more true D end in a 4-down set rather than a guy who stands up with his hand off the ground and could do some of those other things. And then we went out and signed Tyrus Wheat. So if you see and then we moved a guy like Morris Leofau, who I really think is better on the interior, we moved him to outside linebacker as well. So what is that? That tells you that they want more athleticism outside rather than just a true straight up pass rusher. He wants versatility, not just a pass rusher. You know what I'm saying? Or a defensive end who's a true hand in the ground defensive end. That's not what they're looking for. Y'all remember when Green Bay put on film running players at Parsons' legs to slow him down, and then everyone else did it, including us last year. Oh, I could show you a whole video on that. Michael Parsons was getting banged up, and that's a point that I made yesterday that I want to make again. Michael Parsons, man, not playing off ball is probably one of the biggest mistakes that he's made, in my opinion. I think he'd still be a Cowboy if he was playing more off ball, because he would be worth the money. Because he could get you tackles. He'll get tackles for loss. You're not running the ball on him. You ain't running away from him. He'll get you interceptions. He'd do all kinds of things with his athleticism all over the field. But coming back, even if he got injured, coming back from an injury like that as a linebacker, like if you're Demo, right? Demo's asked to run and do certain things, and he can shed blocks in space still with that knee the way it is. But if you put Demo in a phone booth and say, hey, keep forklifting on that knee. I want you to forklift this 340-pound tackle that's 6'7", over and over again for an entire game and then for an entire season with running backs chipping you in the ribs and in the knees, that might be a tall order for anybody coming off of an ACL tear. If you don't believe me, why do you think Sam Williams had 1 sack last year, right? Not that Sam Williams was ever a sack machine, but I don't think he can work off one leg. When you look at a guy like Steele, having to deal with guys running at you, Steele couldn't do it either for a year or two. Because of that knee. So I think Micah Parsons playing defensive end coming back, if he has to deal with double teams, chips, and guys running at those legs, that's going to be an issue. I don't think he's going to be the same right away. It might take him 2 years to get all the way back to where he wanted to be. And I don't think defensive end is the spot for him. Maxx is an elite run stopper, but how quality is your depth if you get Maxx? Yeah. Yeah, I ain't going to have a Maxx argument in the chat. I see y'all talking about that. He said, I don't think Maxx is the cure to win. Yeah, I don't either. But and then here's the other thing. That was the kick I said yesterday. Maxx Crosby, I don't remember him making a playoff. Has he ever made a playoff game ever in life? With all the greatness he got, has he ever made the playoffs? Y'all talk like he just carries his team to the playoffs on defense, like Aaron Donald type shit. Y'all talk like he just or like DeMarcus Lawrence and Von Miller that year. When they went, DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller that year when they was in Denver, they carried broken down Peyton Manning all the way to the Super Bowl and won. Get what I'm saying? That's a deep the Raiders and the 49ers that year. The 49ers had Colin Kaepernick. The Ravens had Flacco. Neither one of them was great. You know what I'm saying? Those defenses carried those offenses to the playoffs and to the Super Bowls, right? So those were guys that you say, oh. Like Terrell Suggs and those guys, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? I can understand that, but y'all talking like Maxx Crosby has done those things, and he hasn't. He a stat machine, but it's not translating into wins where he at right now. They don't win shit now. I don't know how many games the Raiders won. 2? I don't know. 2? So how much of an impact is he having? How many games are Rashan Gary and them winning over the last couple of years? You know what I'm saying? Impact on games and impact on the seasons do matter. If you a stat machine, but y'all still losing, how effective is the stats? That means somebody's still moving the ball on your ass. That's what it means. That's what it means. If you getting stats, but they still scoring, like they was doing with Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons will have 13 sacks, 103 pressures, and we still was ass on defense. You know what I'm saying? And in the playoffs, he disappeared. So, nah. Yo, Okoye, which linebacker do you feel fits our system best in the draft? It depends, right? Because I was just saying, like Sonny Styles, I need to see him in more games. I need to get more film. I'm gonna holler at Chris and Vach and all those guys, see if they got some film for me. Because I only got 2 games of them. But it's hard to get college film, man. But watching him, I haven't seen him have to. He flows to the ball real well, a lot like Demo, right? But I don't know if he's a will or if he's a true middle linebacker. His size would say he's a middle linebacker, right? But he doesn't have to shed blocks that often because Ohio State footage, like if you just watch the highlights, even some of his best plays, he's just running straight to the hole and smacking shit, which is good. That's great. But what can he do if he has to actually get rid of guys? Can he do that? Does he keep his pad level low? Does he use his arms? Those types of things. I saw this with the same height in LV. LV was like 6'5", right? And it's the same thing. He didn't use his hands very well, but we didn't know that till he got here, right? So it's the same thing. I look at I like Sonny Styles a lot, but I don't know how well he sheds blocks consistently. I need to watch more film of him. But so I put an asterisk on him. Outside of Sonny Styles, I like in the first round, I like CJ Allen and I like Jacob Rodriguez. I love those 2 guys. I mean, somebody told me Sori, and I think he's going to be a later pick, but Sori from Arkansas, we should look at him. I like the guy Joshua Trotter because I like guys that can't be blocked. So if you can get rid of your guy in a phone booth, I like you. Instantly, that stands out on film for me because a linebacker that can't be blocked it just creates problems for an offense that's trying to reach block that guy. You know what I mean? You can't really reach block Demo. You couldn't reach block Micah Parsons when he played middle linebacker. Those types of guys are coveted because if they can get rid of their man in a split second, you know, even if you combo block and get to the second level, it doesn't matter because that guy gonna get rid of you anyway. You know, so even if they're not clean every single play, they're still just as effective. And those guys I like. So whether they're downhill or not, or you know, their coverage capability, I haven't looked at all of them, but I know Rodriguez is probably the most well-rounded linebacker in the draft right now for me. And the fact that he ran a 4.5 was okay for me. He's not the fastest guy, he's not sideline to sideline, but he'll probably be more like not disrespectfully, but more like a Sanborn, meaning a guy that's great between the tackles. And if he goes to the right team, I think he'll make plays in between the tackles. I don't think he's a sideline to sideline guy though. But I do like Jacob Rodriguez a lot. All right, let's see what else we got. It said people don't understand that Gary is our tank replacement. That's exactly what he is. I'm fighting the comments for Max. Folks need to at least make valid points before turning him down. But this is my point with y'all fighting for Max. This is my point, bro. If you know some shit ain't gonna happen, why spend so much time talking about it? That's my point. Do you think it's gonna happen? I don't think it's gonna happen, bro. I don't. So that's my problem. But it's not that I don't want Maxx Crosby. If we can get him, cool. If you can get him for something that's reasonable, cool. But it ain't gonna happen, bro. It ain't gonna happen. So why would I argue about that? About some shit that I know ain't gonna happen forever. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna happen. Yep, he finally missed on a few, some meat on the bone this past season. I just said that. Look, I looked at the Carolina game, I looked at the Minnesota game, I looked at the Giants game, the Eagles game, and the playoff game. So 5 games. And in those 5 games, you just saw them. We counted out pressures that should have been sacks. Like he has the quarterback in his hands at least 6 times in those 5 games. So that he just finishes better. Let's just split the difference. So if he finishes better, he's at 10.5 sacks. And those other 3 that he missed, he still misses, right? Cool. That's 10.5 sacks. Nobody would be saying as much if he had 3 sacks at the end of the season, right? If he finishes better in the playoffs, they win a playoff game. And they'll say, it happened because of his play, right? He probably not even here if he does that. because he might have been happier to stay in Green Bay, but he didn't finish on those plays, and the rest is history. But he wasn't just because he had 0 sacks in those games doesn't mean he was just sitting down getting washed. And y'all got to really remember, Micah Parsons got hurt at the end of the season. So once Micah Parsons got hurt, obviously Rashan Gary is getting more attention as a result of that. And as I said before, your scheme changes because you're not calling the same style plays if you're the coordinator, if you don't have Micah Parsons on the field. Nor is the quarterback running for his life away from Micah Parsons into you either. So all those three things going to factor into your productivity. That's like saying Ezraku is here, but Micah Parsons isn't, or we got right now, no pass rushing. We got Donovan Ezraku over there. Donovan Ezraku ain't dealing with double teams and triple teams. And so you slide protection on, you can block him one-on-one. Or if you slide protection over there, he overwhelmed. You know what I mean? So the 5-man front makes sense for him. I'd rather have a dominant DT or an edge rusher over an edge rusher, I think. I think that's what you meant. It's harder for a QB to deal with the pressure in his face opposed to the edge where he can step up and avoid it. Exactly. A-gap pressure ain't no joke. When you watch what Quinnen Williams was doing last season, like versus the Raiders and versus everybody, what Quinnen Williams was doing when he's on the field was beautiful. And I think here he'll be a easily 7 to 10 sack guy again next season. If Parsons sucks in the run game, why get rid of a guy that is good at the run? You said if Parsons sucks at the run. Nobody said Parsons sucks at the run game. Nobody said that. It's just different for a guy that played the run as a true linebacker. So defensive ends from the rip, they already know they're stacking and they're going to get the ball, or they're peeking because they're setting the edge, and then they're peeking outside, crashing the inside gap, so they two gapping, so to speak, right on the outside. When you're an undersized defensive end, you don't got the longest arms. It's harder to do that. And then when you're doing that while thinking pass first, so it's not that he can't stop the run. He stops the run as a linebacker very well. But as a defensive end, he still plays the run as a linebacker, meaning he's not trying to, stack and shed, because that's not what he's great at. He's not great at that because he's undersized. He's giving up 100 pounds. He can't do that all game, especially with double teams or guys hitting him while he's stacking, right? So the problem is that. And then sometimes he'll just run to the ball. He'll try to just go get it. And when he does that, he'll break contain. So it's not that he's not good. I think he's just thinking pass first. And sometimes his get off is so crazy. By the time he figure out his run, it's already a lane behind him because he already ran upfield. So sometimes that's happening. Or sometimes he's so stubborn that he wants to go line up against Panay Sua or Trent Williams or Lane Johnson, just for ego's sake. I'm gonna line up with them the whole game, and then the defensive coordinator dumb enough to let him do it, but he'll get washed doing that. Like they're just like, well, all right, I'm gonna just run you over. So you're giving them opportunities to put a hat on him over and over again. So he doesn't suck versus the run. He just wears down versus the run, and he stops the run like a linebacker, meaning he'll make you miss in space just like he does as a pass rusher, but he ain't about to stand you up consistently and shed you. If you're a tackle or a guard, you're not doing that. Not every play. What's up, chat? Let's see. Saying what's up, Vachi. Let's see what else we got in here. He said Vach funny as hell. They loving you in here, Vach. He said AKA Ferrari. That's my guy, man. Let me stop squinting. I can see. Okoye, you sound like me and my family Cowboys group chat trying to get them to relax. They ain't never gonna relax, man. Cowboy fans got PTSD. They jumpy as hell, man. It just is what it is. He said it again. He said Parsons sucks in the run game and is coming off an injury. Why would Green Bay get rid of Gary if he's good at the run and can kind of pass rush? I think Gary might have wanted to leave. You ever thought about that? Gary might not want to be there. I don't think it was like we hate Gary. It wasn't a we hate Gary mission and they want to get him out of here. And, Gary might be unhappy too. If you're Rashan Gary and you've been here for a while and Micah Parsons comes in and kind of takes your ball, that might bother some guys. And from the sounds of things, from the people I know around the Cowboys organization, some of the players' parents that, speak to people I know, or, some of the people I know, period. I don't want to give away sources. That's kind of dumb. But he wasn't the greatest teammate. I don't think a lot of the teammates liked Micah Parsons when he was here, to be honest, because of his bravado and his ego. So it could be a little bit of that. You never know why Gary left and came here. Yeah, do something with Fox, salute to Koye. Oh, we definitely gotta do something. I love that studio. I gotta come down there and crash y'all studio. I'm coming down and tell Brian I don't give a damn what he say. I'm walking up in that joint. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna come down there when I come to Texas. I'm gonna come fuck with you. You know, me and Voch never met physically. I met everybody else except for Voch and Law. I met Foots. I met Sky. I went to got drunk with Sky last in December 2023. I went down there and messed with him and Jesse. Me and Jesse was gang warring at the time. I walked up on him. He's like, "What's up, Quay?" I was like, "What's up, man?" Shook his hand and we all got drunk. I was like, ain't no real beef. We talking online shit, bro. I ain't mad at you. You talking about? I got people who tried to kill me in real life. You ain't no problem. I ain't mad at you. Parsons' salary is going up. Can't keep everyone. Facts. Gary is D-Law, then let's get Cassius to be the pass rusher in the mode of 11 on the opposite edge. I wouldn't care. Any pass rusher that you think is that we think is twitchy, I think will be good on the other side of Gary and then don't count out Ezra having to deal with the tackles and tight ends and running backs either. Ezra is going to be better this season. Especially he's going to be better because he's 1 of 5. He's going to be better because he's in a better scheme, and he's going to be better because it's his second year, and he kind of got the cobwebs out last year because I think he made a lot of good run stops last year. He had a lot of good pressures, but he wasn't finishing either, and that was his problem. But he's not the two sack guy that the stats would say he is. He's not that guy, but he was definitely better than that. But I think some of the things we were asking him to do, and then you got to realize too, scheme matters. So if I'll show you some plays. Let me show you something real quick. Real quick. Let me see if I got one for you. Because I was about to get out of here soon. But let me just show you. I can go look at some Leofile film and I know I'll get the same effect. Hold on a second, Phil. All right, 3-4 looks. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I can't give you my love. All right, I wanted to see where because Leofile, I just wanted to show you where sometimes we blitzing from. Like, watch this. So this is at the snap. So those guys, the get off was fine, right? Let's see what happens by the time it's time to throw the ball. This is just a quick outlet pass. No time to really get there. No problem. All right, good open field tackle by Kenneth Murray. They call him K9. Y'all don't like that. Y'all don't like that ball. All right, let's see what happens though. But you see how far off we play off, and this is because we were in like a bunch set right there. But they playing off again. This is another run play. I was showing you I wanted to show you how far they were blitzing Mars Leofile from, but this isn't Leofile film, assuming. Yeah, it's not. But when you blitz a guy from 5 yards, 6 yards off the ball with no press, they're not gonna get there. They're not gonna make it because by the time they get there, the ball gonna be out because they have a clear lane to throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? They got a clear lane to get rid of it, and we play inconsistent. So that also affects your pass rush. Is my point. Like, would you say? Let me see here. Would you say this is a good pass rush here? Most likely. Let's see what happens at the end of the play, though. Who's this? I think this is Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark on. Hold. Let me back up too. So for those who ask, like, and I gotta get this off here real quick because I don't want to get flagged. But those who ask, what's the effect of being in a 3-4? When Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams get to play 4-eye or 4 head up. Now here he's spread wide, but when he's in the 4, you think tackles can deal with Kenny Clark? Tackles are used to dealing with 250, 260 pound twitchy defensive ends and max like 270. They're not used to dealing with 300 plus pound guys that can bulldoze you. Anybody one-on-one like this. Look at that. Boom. Nothing. Boom. Still threw a touchdown though. You know what I'm saying? Craziness. But that's my point. Was that a good rush? That's a prime example. I don't even need another one. That's a prime example right there. When you get pass rush, even when you get one, let's look at the coverage. This is your boy Shamar James in coverage over here that's just trash. But just watch. Boom. So at the snap, we here. Boom. We good at this point. He still got to hold this ball. And he's being bull rushed on right now. Still got to hold that ball. Nobody's really open yet. But right now, guys about to break open. You see where Shamar James is. He's supposed to be flowing, and because Murray's going to hand this guy off to him, and he don't even move. Shamar James just stands. But I think that's what he was supposed to do, because when you look at the opposite side of the hash, you see Bland over there doing the same thing. Again, the defense, I don't know what the scheme was, but it was ass. But easy touchdown. Why would you leave anybody alone in the red zone? I don't know. But we can see clearly on film what was taking place on a regular basis. Snap, go. Watch this. Boom. So look, right now, look at the bottom of the screen. Look how far off we're playing. And then they're bailing at the rip. And all Elam does is point. You 20 yards off the ball, bro. Bland down there. Bland is like 10 yards off the ball. There is no chance anybody stops this play. That was even a bad pass. That should have been bang, bang. Somebody should have blew this up. But look at this. There's a little rub route, but there's nobody to rub because they so far off. Look at the space though. Now stop right here. He already let the ball go. I mean, but if he didn't, is anybody covered at all? Who's covered? There's not one person successfully covered on this play. That's impossible to do. At the top of the screen, you got that dig route or that slant or post, whatever that is at the top. That's open. Then the flats, that's open. The tight end running that sell route, that's open. That out route, it's even the rub route is open, and he was supposed to rub somebody. He open. Everybody open. So again, where is the where? Let's see who's blitzing on this. This is Marquise Bell and Houston. By the time Marquise Bell and Houston get there, they got there pretty quick, right? Why would you blitz, right? You're blitzing, but why are you blitzing and playing off so far? If you're going to blitz, I understand you want to keep the ball underneath. I get it to a degree, but they would blitz and give the quarterback so many options to let go of the ball. It's like you're never going to get home with any of that pressure because of how far you playing off. Ain't shit you can do. Now, that was a fourth down play, so context matters. Now, I didn't know that was a third down play, so maybe it was third and long because you see everybody like it's fourth down and they off the field. So it still got him off the field with that. So I understand situationally he might have had a point there, but still, it's poor optics, man. It don't look good. It's just always somebody running wide open. There you go again, wide open, over and over again. When you give this type of give these types of looks and give this type of cushion, you're not winning no football games, man. You're not gonna win no games like that. Here's a 3-4 look for you though. Let's see what happens when we had those 5-man fronts. Yep. So this is a look. You got Houston standing up outside linebacker. For those who ask about Morris Leafau, what he's doing over there, he's playing outside linebacker right now, and what is a 3-4 formation right now, right? So he was doing this last year. It's not like this is new to him. There go Osa. This is what my point was when I said everyone up front. So right now they got 7 men on the line. Let's see. Boom. They're tight end. So everybody's doubling. Right now, you're doubling. Houston, they chose to double Houston. Nobody even touched Osa because they wanted to double. Who's that? I don't know who's in the middle. I think that's Kenny Clark or Quinton Williams. Boom. But they didn't even bother blocking Osa on this play. And you're going to see a lot of that because of those 5-man fronts. You got all those guys up front, and sometimes the assignment gets messed up. And they don't understand who they want to slide protection to at the snap. And you'll get those types of plays. Here, Morris Leafau sort of playing 4-3 over, but at the same time, you could call this 3-4 and he's playing back or off, but he's going to blitz from here. Let's see what happens at the snap. Let's watch what the receivers are doing. We're in press coverage finally this time. Oh, this ain't that play. It's just a run play. Yeah, that was just a regular run play. Yeah, it's just a run play. Let me see how we play it. Osa, let's see where you going, Osa. Osa again. He ran across the line that time and did something else. I ain't mad at him on this one. Right there. Now Marshawn gone, but Marshawn right here gonna let a tight end block him up out of there. I was mad at Marshawn for that. Yeah, you let that tight end get you out of there, buddy. Yeah, that's a tight end, bro. You got to blow him up. Got to blow him up. Let's see what happens on these plays. Clowney. Let's watch Clowney. Boom. Clowney gets washed inside the B gap right there. And then Wanye gets washed right after that and sealed. And then Shamar James kind of flows over the top, and so does Kenneth Murray. Yeah. All right, Morris is playing in that out. This is like a 3-4 look right here. Another one. Morris is outside. Let's see what he's doing. He widens out with that jet sweep that came across, and then boom, he gets on a running back. And this is why the 3-4 will help all those guys up front. So they slid the protection to the other four. So the Sam Williams and everyone over to Clowney. They slid the protection that way, and they just looked at Morris Leofile as just a blitzer, an extra guy. And that running back's assignment is Morris Leofile. That's Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle ain't blocking no Morris Leofile though, so he got his sack right there because of that. And so for those who think Morris Leofile couldn't do that he was doing this with like 10 snaps a game. That's all he was getting. If he's getting snaps per game, 20, 30 snaps a game, Morris Leofile is a 6-sack guy just off the hustle. He'll get you that. Just like, what's that dude, Luvu, and any other Samoan you could think of. They all can ball, bro. You just put Morris Leofile on the field and let him be chaotic. That's what you do with him. Here, that same tight end that was putting all our defensive tackles and linemen on their ass, Morris Leofile beat his ass too. I showed y'all that yesterday, I think. But yeah, these are all 3-4 looks. Ew. That was a bad example, wasn't it? But it's a 3-4 look. Morris Leofile gonna spread out right here. Boom, he's outside. And he's a little off the ball though. But who's that running up the field like that? That is Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark, you got too far outfield on that one. So this is the difference between Christian Parker though and Eberflus as well. Christian Parker wants you to kind of 1.5 gap, meaning one. All right, so he's in his gap. You see how Kenneth Clark is in his gap. He got in his gap, which is the A gap. That's where he was supposed to be, right? But then they want you to watch for the cut, right? He doesn't watch for anything. He just runs up the field. We don't want any of this. We don't want one guy's getting upfield. He wants him to get into his gap and then read. And he didn't get in his gap and read right there. He just ran through it. And that was the wrong move, buddy. Wrong move. I think we proved a point though. And I ain't going hours and hours of film with that. But y'all know what's up. He said I was talking about Green Bay letting Gary go after Parsons is hurt now. I know what you was talking about. I think I just addressed that. What's good, Okoye? Love the content, man, and love you back, brother. Appreciate that. Reddy is okay as your 5th or 6th corner, not the starting nickel. Please, not again. Is Reddy here? Reddy's on the team? If he is, I like Reddy. I think Reddy is safety, though, to be honest. I don't think Reddy will be a corner. I think Reddy is a safety, especially with Christian Parker. Christian Parker probably will look at Reddy Stewart as a safety, too. There's a play with Reddy Stewart when he was in Denver. When we played Denver, Reddy Stewart had to get in for Hooker, I think. Whoever got hurt in Denver. And Reddy Stewart came. He ran the alley and blew a running back up. I was like, oh. He did it in Chicago, too. Like Reddy Stewart, he can hit. So I like him as a tackler, but he can't cover for shit at all. He's not a coverage guy. I would blitz him. I would just move him around, let him do things. Some people never said they only wanted Crosby or we're a bust. Oh, yeah, no. Some people never said that. But you could say you want Crosby. I don't care about that. It's just we not in, up Schitt's Creek without a paddle if we don't get him. Yeah, I was actually talking about some other content creators who are Maxx obsessed. Oh, okay. Got you. He said, I was talking about the people in the chat. Cool, yeah. Oh, all right. I'll be reading them. I don't know. Y'all gotta act who you talking about. Otherwise, I just start talking. I'm like Ron Burgundy. Like anything you put on that teleprompter, Ron Burgundy gonna read it. You know what I'm saying? You start talking crazy. So I'm like that. Whatever y'all put in the chat, I just start reading before I even know what y'all saying. Then I'm like, oh, don't put that up here. Call Raiders midseason at trade deadline for Crosby. I don't know what's up with that knee, but if he got any type of injury issues, I would stay far away from Crosby because Crosby's a guy that's going to need money at some point. You're going to pay him top dollar. And I don't want to pay a guy top dollar that's already faulty injury-wise. I don't want to pay you. So I don't want – me personally, if we could get Crosby, like I said, for a good deal or cheap, I would take him. But I don't think it can happen because I know he still believes in himself. So he said, my knee going to be 200% come next season. And your knee ain't been 200% ever. And it ain't been 100% even since college. So I don't think Maxx Crosby. I don't. I'm not gonna say his best years are behind him. I ain't gonna say that. But if a team will sign you and then say, "Fuck that, no, I don't even want to sign the contract," that say a lot. That say a lot. That mean they fully committed. You know what I mean? They already stuck their toe in. They tipped up already good, and then they just say, "No, I'm cool." You know what I'm saying? No. Put the tip in and then leave. It's like, oh, something wrong. Something wrong at the party, bro. Otherwise, that wouldn't happen. I do think 3-4 helps Easy and Washington step back a bit. Gary should lead the room as is. I would like, I think you mean Williams. I would like to add a top guy to it, but we will see. Secondary definitely improved, in my opinion. Secondary improved, and then the secondary can also help you get sacks because if you force like that's what Zimmer used to do. Zimmer never really was like, I'm going. They never pinned their ears back and try to get upfield. Zimmer historically would just two gap everybody, even the defensive ends. Nobody's firing up the field, but he's able to press cover almost all game with a shutdown corner on one side of the field. So he's using press coverage and sliding, tilting the coverage to help everybody else. And then he leaves one guy on the island, like he used to leave Terrence Newman on the island, and press everybody, right? Well, that press automatically puts you above the 2.5. You ain't getting the ball out fast consistently, and then you can't get the ball deep because he has two deep safeties, in his scheme. So that will force teams to hold the ball longer, and everything looks the same. So he would mug the A gap. Sometimes they come, and sometimes they're not in that double A gap scheme, and everything looks the same. So when he would do that, it would force quarterbacks to have to read the field post snap. And if you're reading the field post snap, you don't have the time to get rid of the ball quick because you're trying to read and figure out where to go with the ball. You don't know where you can go pre-snap. So it forces you to hold the ball. And now guys who aren't the best pass rushers have that extra second to get to you. So that's why secondaries definitely help you get sacks. And pressures, quick pressures like what Micah Parsons can do, helps you get interceptions and things like that. Like the kid Valentine was benefiting heavily from Micah Parsons and Gary. Valentine was jumping everything, but I don't know what, but he was just jumping everything, man. Number 24 for Green Bay. I was like, who is that? But I had to go ask who he is because while watching Gary's film, I kept seeing him jump shit because every time they got a quick pressure and the quarterback threw that ball out to the sticks, he was out there. He was on it. So I like Valentine, whoever that is. All those other guys had Hall of Famers on their defense helping them. True. I want Max, but Sweat for a third makes sense to me. Sweat for a third? I would say Sweat for a fourth or fifth. I wouldn't give up a third round for Sweat, bro. Why would you do that? You got an 8-sack guy already here that can get you 8 sacks. Rashan Gary and Sweat is similar guys. Why we need two of them? We need a guy that's the opposite of them. What they was trying to get in Nolan Smith type thing. They were trying to get a pass rusher. You need a guy that can do that because Sweat is, he's a 7-8 sack type guy. He's not a pass rushing savant. He's a lot like Gary. He gonna get you hustle sacks and he gonna do his job very well and make some plays. The people definitely need a live with Boss Okoye because it's clearly misunderstandings in the streets. Oh no, ain't no misunderstandings, but we can definitely talk. Like Boss, my man, we gonna talk. We gonna talk. He gonna call and we gonna set it up. I broke him down. Okoye Styles was doing everything out there, man. Yeah, send me some footage if you got it. I mean, hit me up on IG. If you got some games where I can see him shedding blocks, I can feel more confident in Styles. But I only saw 2 games, and that's not good enough for me to say what he isn't. I could say what he is athletically, but I can't say what he isn't because I haven't seen anybody test him on the film. All right. All right, let me see. Y'all down there going there. Andy, you popular? Sadiqa too. Suzanne Jackson, what's up, Suzanne? That's something that I didn't understand. Why were they playing 10 to 20 yards off? Nobody can be successful that far off because they got an old coach who don't know shit, don't know how to adjust on the fly in the middle of the season. Yo, Okoye, what's our 3-man front look like? You already know. Agbo, Quentin Williams, and Kenny Clark. And those guys are all interchangeable at any of those positions. So I would say Ogbo's not a guy that you're going to put at the 4 eye that often, but he could do it. He's done it. He did it already. He's been injury prone, but if he's not injured, Ogbo is a beast. Like Ogbo plays a lot like Jordan Davis. I'm not going to see. I did that. Is he Jordan Davis level of skill or frame and type? Yes. Is he Jordan Davis? No. But I mean, statistically, the way he plays, he had 37 tackles in the one season he had 17 games. He only played 17 games, and out of 4 seasons, he played a full season once. The rest of the time, he's been hurt half the season. So that's why his stats and his productivity is the way it is. But the 1 year that he actually got 17 games in, he played pretty damn good. Yeah, he ain't have all the tackles for loss that you want, but if you look at 2024 stats for Ogbo or footage, and I will do that next, when you watch it, he's same thing. Impact. Oh, he was a problem all up and down the line of scrimmage. Those 37 tackles, not 37 sacks, sorry, 37 tackles. Those 37 tackles don't really tell the story about how good Ogbo was playing. But either way, to your point, I think that 3-man rotation is that right there. And then whoever we and then Toye will probably be in the rotation as well. And whoever we throw in there, in the draft, I think in the 4th round and beyond, we might go get another interior guy because they need more depth behind Quinnen and those guys too. But I think that's what it's going to look like. And I showed y'all the footage of what Quinnen was doing when you leave him one-on-one and what Kenny Clark was doing when you leave him one-on-one. They whooping ass, taking name. We just watched him bull rush a tackle right into JD lap. So who was Morris? Morris Leofile, brother. My bad. I say Morris. Okay, how you been doing, fam? Hope all is well. Oh man, yeah, all is real well, man. I can't even lie. I'm trying to find shit to do. I'll be sitting at home like this week. I was tired and a little under the weather. I had to really all right, ain't no more drinking. I was drinking and having fun all last 2 weeks. I said my 43-year-old body don't respond the same. So I'm fortunate enough to have been able to just sit my ass down all week and chill. And then the day I went and was sparring this morning, so I need some ibuprofen. But I've been chilling, man. I chilled this whole week pretty much. I traveled. We were supposed to have a fight. It got canceled. So it kind of opened up my schedule. But yeah, I like the fact that I can chill, man. Appreciate you. All right, nobody really saying nothing. Y'all talking to each other, really. Okoye, with Parker being the new DC, where do you anticipate his biggest hurdle being on defense? Getting everybody to gel. So every first year defensive coordinator has language issues because verbiage changes, scheme changes, personnel changes, situational football changes. Your philosophy is different at every rung of the game. And we don't have a guy from the Eagles or from Denver that knows Vic Fangio's scheme that can teach it to these guys like a coach on the field. We've done that almost every year. When a new coach comes in, you usually go get one of the linebackers from his old regime. We haven't done that yet. So his biggest issue is going to be communication, like getting everybody up to speed with their playbook and knowing exactly what he wants. And then beyond knowing, so knowledge is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? Knowledge is what you know. So if you know the playbook, everybody think, well, I know the playbook, but that don't mean you have. I think that's the way all our teams were last year. When we watched them leaving guys wide open, they're running. When they call a play, they know where to be. They get to that. That's knowledge. Wisdom is, okay, I know where to be. And then last time we did this, I got beat because of this. So now you have wisdom is data. It's an experience, right? So they had the wisdom throughout the season because they were getting beat different ways and they started adjusting, like with the 5-man fronts, things like that. That's wisdom. But understanding is understanding, how am I being attacked? That comes from film experience, and it comes from like wanting to understand your job and everybody else's job on the defense. You don't usually get to understanding in the first year with a defensive coordinator. You get the knowledge. You can get the wisdom too. You understand what we do well. He'll start learning the players. He's going to learn that in training camp. He's going to learn that in OTAs. He's going to learn that in the position rooms to see like who's leading this room, who's watching the film. He's going to learn that when he's watching the film logs to see who's watching film. That's wisdom. He's going to collect that data. And then watching these guys on the film, who's injury prone, who a punk ass young boy or chump, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're going to learn all that. Just like, Eberflus came in, you notice the chumps always went out in training camp. Like Like Damone Clark a chump. You know what I'm saying? On the field. No disrespect. It is disrespect. But I'm not saying he a chump like you can go beat him up. I'm saying he a chump on the football field because of that neck. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at that, but in training camp where ain't nobody getting hit for real, he won out. He beat Morris and he was, one of the starters starting the season. But here's where the wisdom comes in. Eberflus watched him for 2 games and said, oh, oh, oh no, we're not doing this no more. Bench. You know what I'm saying? Get him out of here. That's wisdom. So when you say what we'll be doing this season, Reezy, CP will learn. Hopefully, he does it fast in training camp, but he'll be learning who can do what for real, when the shit hit the fan, and then they'll be readjusting their personnel and their staff and their team based off of that live in this season. And based off of athleticism and just the way the ball swing, we probably can still go pretty far with that. But I think that they'll make the biggest leap in the second year because then you start getting the understanding because you got enough film out there where you know how teams attacked you last year. And if you're watching film in the offseason like you should, you'll understand how they want to attack you. And you'll know what formations will be used against you, how they want to create mismatches for you in particular as a player, and then against your scheme as a whole, right? Those things don't come overnight. Like that knowledge can come overnight because you can read the playbook 10 times and know the playbook. But like I said, wisdom is from practicing it and getting the reps. And then understanding comes once you know, like, I know the good, bad, and ugly as to what I can do. I even know what technique I need to stay away from because I'm going to get my ass burnt. They know these things because it happens to them. But you have to do it first. You know what I mean? You got to do it first. So I think this season we're going to be like building the plane while it's flying, so to speak. Okoye, you got to hit at Okoye too because of the turn red. Hit the at sign and then Okoye. That way I can see it or send a super chat so I can see you. Okoye, what you think Dallas' biggest need is at this moment? Linebacker and corner. We have good corners, no great corners. We need a great corner, and we need a linebacker, middle linebacker, a true middle. We don't have none. Jamar James, I can cut him tomorrow. I can't stand that bull, but we don't got no linebackers. All right. Okoye, our defense will be top 10 fast. I mean, you got the foundation with that front seven. Our front seven. If you can be a team that can make teams one dimensional, even without the understanding, you could still go pretty far. Why? Because you could be opportunistic, like Chicago was last year. And if you understand, like, hey, hold on, this is one of my residents, and they be calling me. Hold on, Mr. Bird, how you doing? You okay? Yeah, I'm on a live right now. I'm just making sure you was all right. You good? All right, I'll call you back. Okay. All right, man. All right. For those who don't know, I house homeless people, and well, they ain't homeless no more now, right? But they kind of a lot of them got different issues. So when they call, I gotta answer. So sorry for disrupting your live with that, but I gotta answer them when they call me because I don't know. They might be cutting themselves or burning the house down or some shit. Um, let's see. Okay, I was answering the question of the top 10 defense. Barring injuries and a player doing something goofy in season, what do you think this defense will be ranked mid-season? 10 to 15, somewhere in there. Like I was saying, if you could stop the run, though, like if you could just flat out stop. Look at what Seattle did. They just put that team together. They not even as good as they're going to be. They're going to be better this year because they now going to learn how to all play together. But they were just playing this. They just all physical. They had a bunch of smart, physical football players that play like their hair on fire. Everybody on this team. DeMarcus Lawrence was one. But then, Leonard Williams is another one. You got Murphy's another one. You got my guy, Devin Weatherspoon, another one. They got so many players up and down that team that all play that way and they all punch you in the mouth. So they were able to just tough their way to the Super Bowl. Even when they were making mistakes, it's like, we're going to do it at 110 miles an hour. So it don't matter. You know what I mean? So I think we can make some noise that way as well. Our back end flowing with the front, that's going to make you good, people. Yeah, the back end definitely got to flow. But here's the kicker is that front seven no longer needs the back end to crowd the line of scrimmage in order to stop the run consistently. We can stop the run with our front seven for sure. I bet the first thing that's why we went strong with the Rashan Gary. I'm gonna put the Gary film up, but I'm not gonna make it like the mainstay. Let me see how I'm gonna do this. Boom. Yeah, do it like that or picture in picture. Do that work? No, let me see which one I like. I like this one. This one, all right. Boom. But when you look at Gary, like the pick itself, when you watch what he's able to do versus the run, it's that same look. Like everybody up front is going to make a team one dimensional. Like going to stop the run. Everybody across that line can stop the run for sure. They said you said you tried the super chat and it didn't allow you to. Hold on. I don't know why. Let me see. Boom. Well, it should be on. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. I'll figure it out later. Oh no, they was super chatting me earlier. I don't know. I got super chats on this call. Maybe they flagged this video because of the footage or something. They might have done that already. They do that to me sometimes. So it's cool, Reese. But you got my cash app. Okoye, I think Dallas like Shamar James to your point. They always fall in love with guys we should cut. Yeah, it's guys like Shamar James and Clark, those types of guys where they're good locker room guys and they're good uh you know, they're good people, but they ain't the best player. And I think Shamar James is one of those. I don't like Shamar James. And I've been watching this film trying to like him. You know, when it's a Cowboy, I'm gonna like you when you get here. When you get drafted, I like you just for the fact that you're here. And I'm like, oh, a new toy. Let's see what he can do. I ain't seen nothing from Shamar James that I really like. Everybody was hype after that Washington forced fumble, but nobody blocked him. I'm like, he ran in a straight line and hit the ball out of the guy's hands, and we act like he made a killer play. He didn't have to do anything all year. And when he did have to change directions or shed blocks, he sucked at it bad. But it could have been, I don't know what the hell I'm doing out here too. So the jury is out for Shamar James. I think he's like 2 years away from me even looking at him. I don't want to see him. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see him. And that's the truth. Um, she said, I'm not a fan of Shamar James either. I feel you. I feel you. All right, but it's been an hour and a half, man. I proved my point, and I will reach out to my man Boss, and we'll figure out a way to get a show together and resolve this once and for all, and then we'll move on. You know what I mean? But Lou takes Cowboy politics, JC, Vach, Boss. You know what I mean? Cowboys beat Chris from Cowboys beat. You know what I mean? Appreciate all y'all. And would you? Last question. Would you trade? Well, now y'all want to ask more questions, huh? Right at the end, like per usual. Would you trade our 3 and possibly a 5 for Jordan Brooks? To me, that's perfect green dot alpha. Yes, I would. I don't mind trading the 3 and the 5. I just don't want to trade our first round picks for nobody, personally speaking. Just remember, we we found CD Lamb in the first round, right? I love first round picks. We found Micah Parsons at 12 in the first round. I love first round picks. Patrick Surtain could have easily fell to us at 12 that year as well, but Denver needed him and they grabbed him. So those are the type of players that are hovering around the top 12. Jalen Carter was a top 10 pick, right? Or I think he was 7 that year. But you got so many teams that's like, so many players, should I say, that's in that top 10 space that'll spill out into that 12 to 15 tweener spot. I will never give up a pick between. I mean, if it was 32nd pick or some second rounds, maybe. Yeah, then I say, all right, well, let's sell those because a lot of the difference makers are gone. Your day one starters are gone in the draft at that point, right? But you got developmental guys or guys that can rotate in and eventually be a star in the second round. In the third round, same way. Unless you're talking about linebacker, they can start day one. But in that top 10, those are guys that you expect to be an immediate impact on your team. You don't get rid of that for nobody, in my opinion. You trade up, if anything, but you don't trade it. I wouldn't do that unless you're talking about, like, when I say a difference maker, talking about a quarterback and you ain't got one type shit. Then I'll do it. Like you trading for Dak and you ain't got a Dak and you the Browns or something. Yeah, you give up the first round pick to get a bona fide guy like that. But outside of that, nah, I wouldn't do it. She said, Sadiq, hold on, let me see. She said, I want to see you, Boss, and Lou have an edge discussion. You want to see us fight. He said, I want to see y'all roll around on the ground and rumble, man. He said, CP not keeping James LB. He not? How you know? Hope he not. Get rid of that bull. Please. Please, please get rid of him. And I hope he make it somewhere. Go, make a team. I don't want to mess your money up, brother. You work hard to get to the NFL, sacrifice your body and all that. So I respect you as a personal person, but not here. You know what I'm saying? Do that shit up the block, bro. All right. Sadiqa said, Okoye, may God bless you for housing homeless people or the homeless. Amen. Amen, Sadiqa. You know what I mean? Appreciate you. Insha Allah. I'm not Muslim. I just like to say that in your name, Sadiqa. But all right, I'm out, y'all. Love y'all. He said, put the gloves on the Okoye. I told you I was just sparring this morning. They was like, how old are you? You box? You still box? I said, nah, I'm 43. They was like, damn, you need to box. Cause I was whooping them young boys' asses in there, man. I called a chick afterward. I said, hey, I want you to dig in that bag and I want you to grab the wallet. It's the one that say bad motherfucker on it. Have fun with it, man. But I'll talk to y'all later, man. Peace.